Hi, it's Lee, and welcome to the Tesla Economist. Fast forward around 20 or 30 years, and Tesla has hundreds of millions of robots out to the public. How has the world evolved? What does an economy look like? Let's explore what might actually happen if Tesla's bots are available to replace a lot of labour, a lot of jobs, transportation, farming, manufacturing, cleaning, cooking, etc. We won't go as far to say every job. I don't think we will see AGI all the way. I don't know how possible that really is, but certainly bots may be able to act as an assistant, at least for many jobs, further leveraging them and offering more abundance if they're not able to replace them fully. Let's discuss the consequences this may have, perhaps not just positive, but maybe negative too. We'd also need to think about the morals and ethics that Tesla might take along this path of hopefully transforming the world to somewhat of a realistic utopia we can perhaps imagine. We'd also expect at this stage most of the energy the world is consuming is being produced by harnessing the photons the sun provides, accompanied with the necessary complementary battery storage. In this scenario, we'll also expect similar advances with transport too. In other words, we have electric autonomous transportation, possibly even aided by the Boring Company. So what kind of jobs would be replaced? Well, let's start with jobs on production lines. We even saw it as a demonstration of a bot working at a station on Fremont. This would therefore reduce the cost of production. Let's assume we have perhaps 80% of human labour replaced on Tesla's solar panels line, for example. Then jobs in mining. We'd want bots to be able to mine as much as possible too. So what are we saying here? Tesla's bots can replace a lot of the labour through the entire supply chain and production of solar panels. They can also run on solar energy. The entire cost of all this is going to end up to be minimal. From mining the resources to transporting them to the refineries, to the factories, to delivering them to the user, a lot of this can be done with bots powered by energy that is made from the solar panels they are making. So through all this bot labour, Tesla have reduced the cost of solar panels that are making the energy to build the bots. Also, the bots are likely on the production lines, making other bots too. Tesla's bots and energy cost just keeps reducing. What will happen to all these displaced jobs on the likes of production lines or in mining? Well, a lot of the workers will lose their jobs. This has been a popular belief for some time that technology will replace jobs, yet in reality it hasn't been the case. It has instead offered more jobs in other positions and offering more leverage, resulting in more abundant supply at lower costs and increased demand for whatever products these are, often resulting in more jobs available. However, instead, these new jobs do require a higher standard of worker. The layman has less and less jobs available, and instead need to become more qualified in learning an actual skill that is less easily replaced by a robot or machine. For example, when the loom finally evolved enough in the textile industry, it displaced a lot of jobs from workers who used to weave fabric. They thought this would reduce jobs available. However, instead, it dramatically reduced the costs of textiles, and thus clothes. Before then, clothes were inherited by most families. When someone was buried, it was never in their best clothes, as they were simply too valuable. Now we have wardrobes full of clothes. We throw them out because they're no longer fashionable, rather than worn out. Clothes have become more abundant, whilst also creating more jobs in the process. However, these robots could end up displacing workers at a faster rate than they could be retrained for new industries opening up for them fast enough, thus potentially resulting in a lot of unemployment. That is a potential scenario. However, in the long term, the economy may readjust. In Tesla's example, due to solar panels becoming a significantly lower cost to build, it would then result in lower cost energy. With lower cost energy, many more businesses suddenly become more feasible, thus opening up more commerce and opportunities. The same obviously extends to lower cost transport. On top of that, living costs would be lower too, due to all of this. So people can justify working on jobs that were not previously feasible, as they now pay enough to get by on this new lower cost of living. Presumably, all these cost savings that Tesla have produced are going to be passed on to the consumer. The barriers to entry are simply too high for the competition, so we've lost capitalism and we have a monopoly. Elon does say that Tesla is a philanthropic institution. We might therefore expect Tesla to just make acceptable profits, perhaps at 40 to 55% margins, rather than ridiculous margins, despite adding so much value into the economy at the same time. This value that is added then proliferates through the economy in a deflationary way, reducing the cost of energy and transport, and as a result, basically everything else. These people whose jobs have been displaced suddenly require less money to live on in this new, lower cost economy, and are thus able to justify working for less income on a job than previously, yet still have higher living standards than before. Otherwise, Tesla will be sucking too much money out of the economy and not placing it back in, especially if they aren't even paying wages to workers, who would go off and consume and recirculate the money back into the economy. Tesla would otherwise be a dead end for money, and Elon has said Tesla won't even pay dividends. This would eventually hurt the economy, and as a result, Tesla's sales will in time too. It is therefore essential that Tesla return this cost saving back to citizens. As for displaced workers whose previous work has now been replaced by a robot, perhaps some sort of universal basic income is actually necessary during the transition. The catch is that it's not the government, but Tesla that's subsidizing it. Tesla could even pay with kilowatt hours rather than dollars, and kilowatt hours would be a currency that is backed by something real, compared to fiat currencies of today. I mean, it wouldn't really even need to be UBI. It could be more some sort of welfare program, just allowing people time to retrain in new vocations due to the transition happening at such a rapid rate. I just say UBI as Elon does often talk about it, and say it may be necessary due to robots replacing jobs. So we have these robots that are able to leverage so much labour and offer us so many goods at much lower cost than before. They can mine so much so fast and produce so much at such low cost. However, that doesn't mean we simply want to consume all available resources on the planet that much faster, just so the current population can live in the now and leave little for future generations. Elon makes it almost sound like society will be totally egalitarian. I'm not sure if he actually means it realistically, but I can't see it happening. In this world of abundance that we envision, perhaps now everyone could potentially afford to go out to eat at a restaurant for every dinner. Do you think the likes of billionaires, though, would want to mix with regular people? That is not the way society works, especially some more than others. There are still systems of class. There's also human psychology. Some people want exclusivity, to feel special or better than regular people. In other words, although there may be enough restaurants for everyone, with enough food for everyone, with affordable enough prices for everyone to eat at, I would say there will still be certain tiers, and people would be willing to pay more for an amazing view or iconic location. And of course, some food is simply more scarce than others. Bots won't mean that there is suddenly enough Kobe beef for everyone, and although perhaps a bot may be able to make food better than your average chef in less time at less cost, they may not be able to make food better than a top chef with more time and much larger budget. There'll be some forms of scarcity, and there will be parts of society willing to pay for more. What is important is that there shouldn't be people starving. So as Elon says, he isn't even sure what an economy would look like in this scenario. As long as there is scarcity, there is still an economy though. There'll be people willing to work to have more. They can train to be in positions that bots are not suited for. We will also still want people to start businesses. Even if they're run by bots, people will likely have more time on their hands as they may need to work less. So there'll be a big demand for entertainment, and humans can be creative in all types of businesses that keep us entertained. Therefore, I think there still needs to be a medium of exchange and store of value, along with opportunities in order to earn more, except there is the possibility that simple jobs are no longer possible, and there is a higher level of entry. We would need to hope that Tesla will have a massive philanthropic venture to better the entire globe. It's one thing being motivated to replace non-renewable energy in poorer nations with a form of lower cost renewable energy, but labour is different. The cost of energy has a global price. The cost of labour has a local price. 85% of the world still live on less than $30 a day. The cost of a bot may not be feasible for a lot of these nations, and may still need labour to do these mundane or dangerous tasks. I'm not sure I have an answer for this yet, and requires more thought. I would however expect that the robots make batteries and solar so much more affordable that it should extend to those developing nations. A lot of them still use diesel for energy. This is the worst for climate change, and is the most expensive form of energy for homes. Anyway, the realms of possibilities of what an economy could look like with bots could fill a book. I could go into so much more detail in so many more areas, but don't confuse a world of abundance with a world without scarcity. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.